Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to this week's edition of Botany Book Club. We're doing chapters, or essays, I suppose, 7 to 12 in Gathering Moss today. And here we go. My name's Ren, for anyone new coming in, and let's see what happens. Have a good sleep, Ash. Yeah. Have a fabulous sleep, Ash. And welcome, friends. Welcome to the shenanigans. Yeah. So, hoping everyone's doing alright today. Once again, we're operating on the headphone mic, so hopefully it's not too kind of janky and weird. But that's what we've got. I'm gonna try and not clap my hands or make noise or whatever right in front of me because that's where the mic is. But if there's an issue, let me know and I'll make a note of it. Yeah. So for this week, we've got essentially the middle third of the book. So in the text, it's 29 to 82. So 6 essays. Anyone have a particular observation or something that you want to raise before we get into it, or just go? Left our hot takes in the Discord. Ah, yes. Oh yeah, the line in the Satellite Sisters essay about finding a mate being a universal female concern was, yeah. Yeah. Which from a biologist perspective, as someone who's studying the reproductive strategies of mosses, yeah. But as far as people are concerned, I don't know. But then there's, East Pride, awesome sauce. But then you also get the the weird like linguistic fun times of like the meanings of asexual and bisexual in context of people versus in context of everything else, basically. And I will say, there there's a few times I don't remember where they are in here. I had the audio going while I was working on stuff, but there's a few times where she's talking about um the the gender of the mosses and how sometimes they change gender and like based on what the environment needs and well, for certain species some don't but some do and it was kind of reading as like the difference was between sex and gender thing. Yeah, but then in chapter 12, she has these two sentences that are like, "Look how many genders mosses have." Yeah, exactly. Trans moss. Exactly. Exactly. It's fab. Exactly. If it ever lets me actually look inside. Uh, is that technically transgender and transsexual? It. Yeah, the confusion between sex and gender. Yeah, it's for that, like, because the reason for the change is, um, right. I forgot to mute the thing. That would be why. Come on. There we go. Alright. Good? We're good. Okay. So, apologies for the, irritating feedback loop that might have been happening there. It depends on if the mic was able to pick that up or not. I'm sitting here, it's like, but I muted the like desktop. So what is? Oh, that's me. Right. Great. Slay the echo. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Because water is important. Alright. So, in this context, right, because the reason for um, altering I guess presentation is to assist in reproduction. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, can plants have gender identities as we humans understand it? It depends on how you identify consciousness, I suppose. Because, like, on that level, most plants, or there's a lot of plants, a lot of species that are connected to others in the same family or are extensions of a larger body, or the root systems communicate, what have you. So by and large, plants tend to be like one part of a whole versus an individual themselves. But then sometimes they really are, so. But they. Even in stories when it's relayed that someone was having a conversation with a plant, aside from certain circumstances when, like, the person who's relaying the information has used gendered language, there's not really any kind of, like, gender identity that's relayed even with that that I've seen. Of course, the accounts that I've seen are few and far between, and each person's experience with plants is different, so there might well have been something of that nature in an exploratory discussion at some point. I don't know, but as far as I've seen, the gender identity, as humans interact with it, isn't a thing that plants would be aware of. Also wonder if higher population density in humans leads to appearance of more LGBT folks as a carrying capacity mechanism. I mean, it could be. That is one of the theories that I've heard occasionally. Yeah. Most of the time it's been phrased as something like population control versus carrying capacity, but carrying capacity is very accurate. So, yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna pop the mic down for a sec. The density dependent sex switch, the moss made us wonder. Yeah, no, that. Oh, that would be a possible factor. Like, it would be interesting to see how that, like, if that was a factor, how it's influenced anything over time. Because like I have to with the population density and like increase of LGBT plus folks, I have to wonder how many people, like what the population, the LGBT population would have been like in past eras. I mean, in most capacities, like there's very obvious reasons why the records wouldn't be kept, because, you know, safety and all that. But still something that you want to know, you know? Because it's cool. And there's so much that's been lost over time. Anyway, also was, yeah, no, it wasn't gametes, it was, gemme, I think. What is it? I'm guessing there's a base level, but yeah, even now, safety of expression is privilege. Yeah, totally. No. Is there's a few illustrations in the Kickapoo chapter. There we go. Okay, so this is one of the examples of the gemme cups. So right there. So you kind of see where the stalk is coming up, and then there's like a flower type structure up top, and there's like little egg type balls in the cup, and the process of like having water droplets bounce into where is it? Trying to do this backwards and it's not working. Having water bounce into, there we go. Bounce into the cup and then like out is enough to knock the spores. To knock the gemme out, and they're already photosynthesizing. They're able to kind of put down roots and become a new plant right off. And doing it that way, you're a lot more likely to just have the plant flourish again. Because if you look at it, the cup itself is kind of like sort of conical. Not really, but like sort of. So if something hits one side, it kind of ricochets around and bounces back out. So the Kickapoo chapter's funny. Glad it wasn't us popcorn eating. Glad it wasn't us in the popcorn eating bystander way. Yeah, no. That one was good. That one was good. Okay. So, on this, we've got, oh yeah, just as an illustration, we've got a few of the mosses that were mentioned in the Satellite Sisters chapter. Like so. The tailings chapter's gross though. Why porta potty people? Why? Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty nasty. Oh yeah. And we've got this one, the Cranum fulcrum, the Cranum polysedum, over here. And there was a note in here for the polysedum that if a spore finds itself on a new rock away from the rest of the colony, then it will germinate and grow and become a full-size female. But if the spore lands in the same patch, then it'll become a male that is smaller than the females, because then it's a lot easier for the sperm to actually reach the egg that it needs to get to. There we go. I don't know what happened, but the chat window just disappeared. The Cranum fulvum looks like it would be at home in Snape's lab. I mean, it does, though. Like, look at that. Like, seriously. Look at that, dude. Yeah, definitely. I would not be surprised at all. Okay. Then we've got a dry curled shoot of Dendrolossia right here. And a moistened shoot of Dendrolossia with the sporophytes. There we go. Just kind of illustrating that even if they are dried out, you can usually reconstitute them by adding some water. If mossers, wow. If mosses have Hogwarts houses, Defaultum is Slytherin. Yeah. Yeah, no, that would work. I could see that. Dendrolossia is Ravenclaw. Fair. Yeah. What would Sphagnum be? I don't know. That one's for next week, but like, I'm curious. Alright. I don't know. Sphagnum, Irish, and Oak remain the faves. Okay. Oh yeah. And then there's mention that sometimes leaves are kind of pleated like that to retain moisture, because having kind of creases in the leaf make it so that it would kind of grab on to water droplets and good question. Immediate thought is Hufflepuff. Okay, I could see that. I could see that. Sphagnum moss is pretty awesome and stuff, you know? Okay. So, a note on the water content. A note on the water content. Profound changes in the shape of the mosses occur as water is pulled back to the atmosphere. Some mosses begin to fold their leaves or roll them inward. This reduces the exposed surface area of the leaf and helps the moss cling to the last bits of surface water. Nearly all mosses change their shape and color when they dry out, making identification of species doubly difficult. Yeah. Like sounds with movement. Okay. Can you still hear weird night sounds or no? Because right now I'm making a point to keep it away from my shirt. Okay. And then there's another one down here. Most importantly, the enzymes of cell repair are synthesized and stored for future access. Held in the shrunken membrane, these lifeboat enzymes can restore the cell to full vigor when the rain returns. The internal machinery of the cell can turn on and quickly repair the desiccation damage. Only 20 minutes after wetting, the moss can go from dehydration to full vigor. So, no sounds now. Okay. I've got it in my hand here, so hopefully that helps. Alright. Yeah, the binding up the wounds, moss is an ecological succession thing. Ow! Sorry guys, been working on projects for a number of hours, and I guess my brain's just going like, oh, we're sitting? Yeah, we can we can totally sit now. Sitting means like trying to fall asleep, right? Regardless of if you're in the middle of having a conversation. It's fine. Biology research can be surprisingly trash generating. Seriously. Like, okay. I understand using something that won't decompose in... Oh, wow. Okay. One sec. How? Really? My eyes are so weird. Like, if there's something in the middle of the lens, then I can look around it and it's fine. But if it's on the perimeter, then I can't see squat. And I know it's partly an astigmatism thing, but like, come on, man. Like, seriously. There's a smudge, like, right here. And I think there's something else, like, right there. And I can't see. But, like, I've had times where it's just a full-on thumbprint, like, right in the middle, and it's fine. Like, why? That's okay. We'll get the shutdown mode activated thing. Yeah. Also, how did my glasses get that filthy? I was looking through that. Yep. Yeah. So we're gonna take a slight break to try and reactivate the glasses from their stint in shenanigan land over here. It's like, I washed you, and yet you still do this. What I can, I guess. Alright, we're having tacos. Slightly better. Frames dropping, nice sense of humor there, OBS. The frames are dropping there. Okay. Yeah. Also remember, just like mosses, water is very important to people, so remember to drink your water. Okay. Now that I can kind of see again. Yeah. And this whole thing. People keep forgetting that just because something was flushed away or sent out of sight doesn't mean it ceased to exist. I've got a friend who says, what was it? It was, what does he say? It's something to the effect of it was a flushed away inconvenience to something. I literally can't remember the quote at this point, but same general vibe. There's a lot of plants, right, that thrive in a disturbed environment or in what would be hostile to other species or whatnot. Packaging used to be so much more actually recyclable as well. Yeah, yeah. Um, like I do appreciate though that there's a lot more, um, especially creatives who are really pushing for sustainable packaging and whatnot. Like a lot of the people I follow on Instagram, there's art people and there's plant people and stuff, but sometimes they kind of coexist. So you get um like the small business owners and whatnot who post things about sustainable packaging and how it's like there's a random paper bag that is torn up and whatever, but if you put it through a shredder, then you get like instant paper crinkles. So A, you're not buying them, and B, you can reuse stuff, and it's cool. Yeah, if we were the tyrant in charge, we'd make companies use 100% easily recycled everywhere packaging with the high post-consumer content to prove they need an exemption. Yeah, good plan. That, yeah, that that would be a good plan. Seriously. Ugh. You know, like I do appreciate though for this chapter, like the there's a lot being said, but it kind of boils down to there's a lot of bad stuff and if you work with the environment that you're in, which may or may not be good, honestly. But if you work with, the environment that you're in, then vote for Honeycomb for Tyrant in Charge. Is good plan, yes. If you let it, the earth can heal. There we go. That's what I was. And if you work with it, yeah. That's essentially where I was going, and then the train of thought ran off halfway through a sentence. Which I realize is not the first nor the last time that's been on stream, but it's still annoying when it happens. Alright. Let's try this. Is there any brown rice tea, green tea? Okay. There might be some. Ow, come on. Open, dang it. Oy. Currently, the stream is being not brought to you by tea, so. Oy. Apparently, I can't open it. So, there's that. Alright. Let's try this again. Just let's do a bit of a speed round for a little bit. Because I've got a few markers and stuff in here. Ow. I don't know if it's that my hand's weak right now, or that the bottle is just, like, oddly, like, really secure. But, like, that... Ow. Anyway. So, we've got The Forest of the Water Bear as one of the essays. Essentially, the forest of the water bear being the mosses, and the water bears being residents of the mosses, just like the Amazon and the residents of the Amazon rainforest, because for most of the essay, she's remembering going through the Amazon and how it's kind of, it feels similar to how it is looking at mosses under the microscope, because you can kind of see the little microcosm that exists in the moss with it's called over-applied in the beverage industry. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, like, it, honestly, the lid is on so much right now for that it feels like I need to open it with a wrench. Which probably means, like, bust out one of the pot holders or something in the kitchen. But, like, the torque on that thing. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh. One sec. Yeah. So, and once again, I'm just reminded that there's quotes and stuff. So, mosses are epiphytes, but they sometimes support other epiphytes. So, like, if it's an epiphyte or an epiphytic plant, then it's essentially like growing on another plant. And in some mosses, there's like algae growing in the moss or on the moss. So there is that. And she was describing the canopy to surface trickle of nutrients as being very similar to the mosses, with how material kind of filters through the water down to the base to feed the scavengers that live in that strata. Also, there's a note that just like the mosses, the water bears, or what's their proper name? Because I can't remember. So I'm running my hand into the mic. There we go. There we go. It's like, I know the name, but like I can't remember the name right now, and it's bugging me. Anyway, I want to say it starts with a T. Yeah, the only word coming to mind is Trogdor, and I know it's not that, so. No, it's not that. Okay. Because it's gonna bug me otherwise, I'm just gonna look it up real quick, because I am not finding any passages in the entire compendium. Tardigrades. Right? Yeah, tardigrades. Okay. Hibernating water bear form name made us think of that line when the taunting is done in the Wellerman song. You can see that. I can see that. Yeah. It is interesting that both the tardigrades or the water bears and the mosses can just kind of revive after years of not being around water. Like, it's just kind of fascinating, you know? At which point, what's just taking the water bears, right? If like full desiccation can be reversed if they get access to water, what kind of like life expectancy do they have? You know? Which I know that's a thing that's been posited before, like how do you measure that? Same with certain plants and stuff. But interesting to contemplate. Probably only possible in small scale beings. Yeah, no, totally. But like in the scale of um just the water bears themselves, like not even in another species, just them. Like, how would you even measure the age of one of those guys? Like, really? Because they're technically like dead or like 98.95% dead for however long between rains, but they're technically also just hibernating. So, I don't know. Okay. Um. Okay, so we're in the Kickapoo chapter. How many? Okay, so it's 2 essays left. The Kickapoo and choices. So, we've got Fazendens, osmundos. Fazendens is a small moss, each shoot only 8 millimeters high, but it is tough and wiry. Fazendens form is very distinctive. The whole plant is flat like an upright feather. Each leaf is a smooth, thin blade, atop which sits a second flap of leaf, like a flat pocket on a shirt front. So, this guy right here is Fazendens. And if I'm remembering right, that's the one that she was studying. Yeah. Which, like, again, I understand using a non-biodegradable material like a plastic to mark plant populations. Or it might be in the next one, I don't know. But with the microplastics and how stuff breaks down and whatnot, and especially if it's a moss that's being studied, it probably wouldn't have like an excess amount of sun in a particular spot, but you would still have like sun damage to the plastics. So, yeah. That question can apply to other plants too, like trees. Is the willow still alive? If the first above ground tree dies, but a clone that grew from a branch floating downstream is still alive, is the willow still alive? What about trees all connected by roots? True. And then you get into like the philosophical aspect of it, of like what it means to be alive, and with the cloning, that's the same kind of, in a way, it's the same discussion that I've heard a lot of people have regarding the transporters in Star Trek. Because there's a certain school of thought that, like, if such technology was available and a human were to go through it, would it even be the same person who came out the other side? Because they would have been deconstituted, shot through space, and then reconstituted. And there might be like an upload of consciousness from somewhere, but is it actually the same person? And I mean, honestly, just like as a thing, right? I love Trek. I really do. Love Star Trek. After all of the transporter accidents I've seen on that show, in every iteration of that show, where like someone ends up in an alternate reality, or like someone gets trapped and mostly dead, but like also stuck in space or whatever. Like, not gonna lie, between like the fear of heights and whatever else, and the need to be around plants and whatnot, like space travel probably wouldn't be so great for me anyway. But but if I was to go up in space, shall we say, in that capacity, the transporter room is like all kinds of suspicious. Like, it's cool and all, like 10 out of 10 on awesome tech points, but like also, you know, yeah, Botany Book Club and Star Trek and philosophy, very good. When's the weirdo on board who insists on traveling only by shuttle? Yeah, no, in the reboots, cause like that's the one that is sticking in my brain right now. In the reboots, there's I know there's someone who only travels by shuttle, and I can't remember who it is. Because McCoy, like, hates the transporter, but, like, gets motion sick on the shuttle. I know that much. And I can't remember who it is. Because it was most the crew in the I don't know, prequel, I suppose. series? Yeah, it would be the prequel. It was like however many years in the past, like before the rest of the canon, for Enterprise. But like the tech was still being tested out and hadn't included people yet at that point. So yeah. At which point I think, if I'm remembering right, Kirk's ship, like Kirk's iteration of the Enterprise, was the first one to have, technically right out of the gate, like people safe transporters. Could be wrong on that one. But yeah, no, totally the one traveling by shuttle. Like, seriously. Also, might I add, with the whole asthma thing and whatnot, like, probably the only one on the team going, down to the planet's surface, actually wearing PPE, because, dude. Like, I saw a meme on Instagram a while back. It was just like, me in the undergrad chem lab, like working with non-volatile chemicals, and it's like someone in a full like hood with like gloves and mask and goggles and everything. And then the second panel was like any away team going to an alien planet that no one's ever been to before. And it's just like everyone in shirts and pants and like just walking around with no helmets or anything on. It's like, guys. Come on. People, why? Now that we think about it, if you can feel the ship moving but not track it visually because space, that could be a recipe for motion sickness. Yeah. And with how I have reacted to large cruise ships, that would probably be a really big thing for me. Because, like, I'm fine on a tiny boat that's just, like, all in the middle of the sea. That's fine. Like, I can go between, what is, there is randomness in the keyboard. I can go between, like, the coastline and Catalina on a boat that's just, like, jumping waves and be fine. Like, when I've been in that situation, like, I'm on the bow just, like, watching the waves come up. That's great. That's a great time. Being on a cruise ship, and it's like, I don't know, 6 floors, however big it was, just parked in the bay. We weren't even moving. Just, like, parked in the bay. You could see the land from there. I was real nauseous. It was like that kind of back of the mind. Oh, I don't feel good. I'm gonna sit down, but like, I don't like this. But nothing actually like happened, shall we say? But yeah, no, if that in space, yikes. Like, I would think once that became a thing, there would be some way to mitigate it, aside from just hypos. Because really, ah, like some kind of, I don't know, not anti-grav suit, but some kind of like a wearable something that you can work with. But failing that, hypos. Yeah, us two, if we're right on the water, like in a Zodiac, we're fine. On a yacht, just in the dock, like, yeah, yeah. Like, like, and part of it is when I've been on a ship that's just parked in the bay, like, I know that if I needed to, I could get off the boat. So there's that security too. That particular instance, it was like we were parked in international waters because like there's laws about gambling and stuff, but if you're in international waters, it's okay technically. and, and it was like day 2 of a 4-day cruise or whatever. So they were just parked in the bay so that people could gamble and whatever. It's like, can we just go somewhere? We don't even have to land anywhere. Can we just, like, move, maybe? I don't know. Like, at least if my brain can be tricked into thinking, like, ah, yes, we are going on an adventure. Like, whatever's happening will, like, chill at least a little bit, you know? Just a little bit. Like, enough that I won't feel the need to track where all the bathrooms are. Just a little bit. It's fine. Ah, yeah. Or like the glass bottom boats. Those are awesome. Like, I haven't I haven't been on one of those since I was like 8. Yeah, that would be cool. So glad our high school prom was not on a cruise ship. Sensitive people problems. Yeah. I keep forgetting that like location dances is a thing. Cause like all with the exception of like I don't know, grad night where we went to Dave and Buster's because reasons. Um everything at the like all the dances, all the whatever at my high school were just in the gym. And like I'll see something where it's like, yes, we had prom at Disneyland, or we had this other thing, and it's like that they do that. That's a thing that happens. The school rented out a hotel. Why? But it's like, oh, interesting, fascinating. Oh yeah. So more visuals, right? So that right there, we've got the phallus of liverwort. And it does kind of vaguely resemble a liver, sort of, kind of. Does not have anything to do with how liver works or whatnot. But there we go. Our school is big enough to have a purchasing power. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I I rediscovered some documents from like elementary, junior high, whatnot. So there's gonna be some stuff going up on the Patreon in the next couple of days. The one in mind, particularly, for the 22nd because World Whale Day. But yeah, there were 2,000 people in my high school, which was a big step up from the 150 in the pre-K to 8th grade I was in. You know, we had my 8th grade graduating class was 4 people. Yeah, nice to have a visual. Was envisioning those thalluses looking like plant cobras. Yeah, kind of. It's weird. But yeah, because probably because we were so small, but also because the instructors were interesting. Every year, all the 8th graders who were graduating had to give a speech, and I found mine. So, after doing some edits on it for like changing or removing names or whatnot, that's gonna be going up as a file if I can figure out how to share files on there. Yeah. Yeah, no, but it was the kind of environment where like if you were having trouble with math, you were essentially like you were expected to do the homework and then grade your own homework with a red pen and then fix any issues with it and then grade it again and then turn it in. And if you ask how to do something, you were told to figure it out. So, make of that what you will. Yeah. My dyscalculia have himself was a big fan of that. Yeah. So there's that. Oh yeah. So for the choices chapter, right? I do like the just the complete like difference of perception of terms, right? Perception of acronyms, where it's like, ah yes, the AI man is coming to the farm. The artificial intelligence? No, the artificial insemination, of course. Like, alright, yeah, fair. We would also like an MP3 of the rain video because YouTube started putting ads in the middle of it. That's rude. Yeah, okay. That reminds me, I have another few math teachers does not sound like they were teaching. No. It doesn't help at all that the principal was one of the instructors in that classroom, because it was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in the one class, and if I remember right, the one teacher was English and history. The other one was math and science. And then, like, a Spanish teacher came in for, like, when there was a Spanish teacher, mind, because, like, that school went through them like water. And there were times that we were all ready to go and dude just never showed up. But Spanish and dance, I think. Spanish, dance, and art were like a once a week thing. But yeah, the principal, if I'm remembering it right, it might have been the other one, but as far as I remember, the principal was the math teacher. Yeah. It was not the best of times, shall we say. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'll definitely, bust out just an MP3 version of the rain thing for you. Okay. Oh, and one of the big things for the choices chapter is the like genetic selection of traits and whatnot. So therefore, she's talking about how her neighbor was selecting for particular traits with the cows, and using artificial insemination to perpetuate a certain desired traits in the herd. And then with the Gemme cups that we talked about earlier, there's that's usually seen in like a moss that goes between sexual and asexual reproduction. So if there's like a low density, like a low plant density, so there's a lot of space, then it's the time for Gemme, which is essentially the asexual reproduction. If it's high density, then it's a time for spores, because then the spores would be launched into the air and land on another area to colonize another area because there's a high enough concentration in like the home range already. And yeah, and for the gemme that are in place, they're ready to go right out of the gate. They have everything they need. They're already photosynthesizing. They're fine. So if they need to populate an area quickly, that's the most viable strategy because everything's already set up. So they just need to like get to a landing spot versus the spores that need to like create an entirely new plant just from scratch practically. And then there's a note here. Decay renews the open space. And in accord, Tetraphis renews itself. Tetraphis plays both sides of the game, producing gemme for short-term profit and spores for long-term advantage. Because if the entire population of a lost colony, just like any other group, is entirely clonal, then it's got a very small genetic pool. So A, if anything happens that affects one of them, they're all dead. But B, they all end up just recycling the same genetic structure. So if the DNA itself ends up wonky, then they all have an issue. But if there's an alternating cycle between asexual and sexual reproduction, then they get the benefits of like quick asexual reproduction and the benefits from sexual reproduction of like keeping the genetic material strong. So yeah, you see that in ferns and stuff too. So yeah, there is that. Okay, so now we've got, looks like about 80 pages left. So, do we want to break it up into 2 separate weeks? Or do we want to do, where is it? All of these for next week. So we've got from 82 down. Okay. I don't know. Okay, I know it's because I've been listening to Black Audio again, which like seriously, why did I stop? That is Oh, that is a great track. Or great CD. Where is it? I saw Straw into Gold, right? And my brain thought it said Straw into Cold, which, then translated into a very obvious, song title. But, yeah. Anyway. So, there's that. I was anticipating doing it in 2 parts, but okay with finishing if you are. I'm alright with doing it in 2 parts, that's fine. It gives more time to, fully analyze everything. So, yeah. Totally cool with 2 parts. So what do we think? Emo for the win, right? Totally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it looks like 10 essays, and an index. And the index is just... Is it? Yeah, it's just the glossary. No. Notes. That's what it is. So, do we want to do 5 for next week? And 5 for the week after that? So, it would be A Landscape of Chance. So, 13 to 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 13 to 17, yeah. A Landscape of Chance, City Mosses, The Web of Reciprocity, Indigenous Uses of Moss, The Red Sneaker, and Portrait of Splachnum. I know it's not, but The Red Sneaker just sounds like a Sherlock Holmes story. It does. I just noticed that. Aww. Yeah, 13 to 17 on audio. I just noticed that. Look at the little coat of arms for the OSU Press. It's got a little beaver on it. That's adorable. It's like the trees and the sun and mountains and stuff. Apparently it was established in 1868. So, yeah. Good times. Alright. Anybody have further thoughts at the moment? Or are we good? Ow! Don't know if that translated, but that was my back if it did. Because, the spine and all that. Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I was working on. Oh. Seriously, beavers are adorable. They're floofy and they have little tails and they make things and yeah, they have a very like not advanced for like people, but like they have an advanced like um social hierarchy and they're fascinating little critters. Hope that was a good back crack. It was just like, oh, hello. You made noises, alright. Well, I'm not in pain, so that's a plus. But yeah. Ah. Yeah. So, how's everybody doing at the moment? Just to see. Ready to enter shutdown phase ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to see if there was anyone to raid, and I'm not seeing anything really. So, it just occurred to us that bumblebees have major emo style. They do. They do. Yeah. Bumblebees be styling. Ow. But yeah. So, alright. Sounds good. In that case, thank you for hanging out and being awesome and participating in the shenanigans that is this channel. And yeah, hope you have a fabulous rest of your day and good sleeps and good foods and all the rest of it. If you're seeing this on YouTube, check out all the links to everything in the description down below. And if you want to see book club episodes recorded live, it's twitch.tv/adventurin. Spelled the same as it is here. Until next time, have a fabulous rest of your day and everything. Bye, friends. I send you hugs. There we go. Yeah. Hugs for Honeycomb. Because y'all are awesome sauce. Was a good discuss. It was indeed. It was indeed. Thank you for the hugs. Thank you for the hugs, friends. I keep forgetting that I have a half-finished dragon over here. just sitting there, somewhere I have legs. I don't remember where they got, but they're there somewhere. Anyway, that being said, I will let you go meander, there we go. Meander to whatever it is that you're going to populate your evening with. Have a good one, friends. Bye, everybody.